The director of research of Institute for Economic Affairs in Ghana suggested that Ghana should join the road of dollarization, meaning dollarizing its economy. Hello, I'm Mahlet Ayele, your host at Connect Africa, bringing you the latest from the continent. Now, this is the latest news that came out from Ghana. This director of research suggesting that Ghana should dollarize. Now, his name is Dr. John Kwaike. He suggests adopting the dollar as Ghana's currency to stabilize the economy, really. Now, here is in quotation what he said: stabilizing the economy is not rocket science. If we feel we cannot maintain the cedi, meaning the Ghanaian currency, let us abandon it and adopt the dollar. Let's dollarize the economy. This is as simple as that, what he said, while most of the economies in the continent are struggling and trying to join BRICS and trying to drop those foreign currencies who are dominating, and at the same time who are dictating their economies, the administration in the countries. While this is a struggle to be free from neocolonizations, our own people, like this one, the so-called educated, suggest to us dollarization is a way out when your currency is not seem to work out. Now let's go and see, dig more. What are the reasons that you're presenting? Okay. Now, he says it, by the way, on a national television, but he says that dollarization, the economy, should be a temporary measure until it rebounds, after which Ghana creates its currency. So this is the question. Now, how many countries we have seen so far who dollarized their economy and who were able to be back to their own currency? We have seen none. So even if there is maybe still dollar is dominating and their local currencies is just operating little, just to say that they have not dropped it. Otherwise, to come back to your own currency once you dollarized will be difficult. And then he continues, he says, dollarization is when a country begins to recognize US dollar as a medium of exchange or legal tender alongside or in place of its domestic currency. And once, you show the people that you can use dollar, then do you think that they're going to choose, even if you put it in parallel, still make it available, your local currency, that they will choose to use local currency? No, because the value of dollar is high. So they will choose the US dollar, and eventually you are making a suicide on your own economy, on your own autonomy of your economy. There are a lot of things alongside that a government will lose once you allow your economy to be dollarized. Now, the disadvantage, of course, the pros that he's suggesting is that, okay, there's lower administrative cost, a firm basis for a sounder financial sector, and lower interest rates. I mean, first of all, for a country to be able, to choose to use dollar or dollarize your economy, that means you have the lowest production. That means you are printing money in order to cover government administration and public services, that you don't have production to cover those costs. So what you have to do is, again, I argue and disagree with this person and say that Ghana has to increase its production to be able to inject or to cover its costs that related to public services and government administration. Yeah, that's what it has to do. And of course, backing by gold is also another option where countries like China and other, big countries are joining. BRICS countries, the founders are joining this, but their production is high. So unless your production is high, to choose to back by gold, or for your currency to be backed by gold is not really a solution. I mean, we just talk about Ghana, but there are a number of countries in the continent who are facing the same struggle, who are going in the same, in the same direction like Ghana, even maybe more worse. Now let's talk about a bit of the, not a bit, I mean, it's a disadvantage. The disadvantage is mainly you lose a country once you allow to be dollarized, then you lose the monetary autonomy in your own country. There will be seigniorage. The seigniorage is, when the cost of printing money is higher than the face value of the money itself. Of course, it's a vital national symbol. And, guess what? By allowing to be dollarized, you are basically allowing yourself to be vulnerable for more foreign influence, even as it exists as having your own currency. Is really because of the inflation rates. A lot of, these so-called international organizations are into the government's administration, trying to dictate your government, trying to dictate, to tell what kind of rate, exchange rate you have to use, that you have to devalue your money, all these things that they are telling you. And they even go and tell you they will deny you loan or funding that you are expecting from them unless you devalue your money, because that's how they profit. They make a profit on your loss. Okay, on your being, going down to the path of poverty is how they become going, up on the path of being wealthy. So really, we have to take this to attention. And, I expect the Ghanaians, intellectuals and others discuss this more, and not really allow for the Ghanaian government to come in to say, that they're dollarizing their economy. Now, while he says this on a national television, we are, there are Ghanaians also who disagreed Dr. Kwaike's proposal. Now, Dr. Kwaike says, while Ghana dollarized the economy, he also advises the Central Bank of Ghana to be converted into a currency board as another option for economic stabilization. This is really laughable. Now, he even has the nerve in telling the currency board does not influence monetary policy, but relies on supply and demand, issuing notes and coins and providing fixed rate conversions to the anchor currency, which is the dollar. Now, the country is, of course, unfortunately driven by IMF program, and there is little we can do. This is what Dr. Kwaike says. We are bound by their policy, and breaching it will attract sanction. You see, this is what he's afraid of. This is what he's telling his government. So this is his suggestion, how he reasons out, how he's backing by evidence why Ghana needs to be dollarized, saying that anyway, what, Ghana, or the president of Ghana, you are bounded by, to be driven by the IMF program, and then, there is nothing you can do. So breaching what they say, meaning what the IMF dictating, will attract sanction, instead of advising to increase production and to pay the sacrifice so that Ghana will stand the Ghana's currency will stand on its feet. He's advising to surrender. That's what he's basically doing, to surrender and become colonized. So another one says he disagreed with Dr. Kwaike, and he says the government should not dollarize the economy. What he said is that, you know, the government should develop policies that would make the dollar useless in Ghana. Okay, now he's a finance analyst. His name is Yao Sampa, and he said the speculative effect of why people sought dollar reserve in the first place should be killed completely. These are his words, should be killed completely, that Ghana should make them unavailable for it. And then he continues that Mr. Sampa says, why does a politician, meaning in Ghana, who owns a house in East Legon, quote the amount in dollars? So these are the government officials. Why a politician who owns a house in East Legon quote a price in dollars? So why does a hotel need to price its services in dollars? Why does everyone have to price goods and services in dollars? These are the problems. So he is saying, as a solution, government should make the dollar completely useless in Ghana, except when backed strictly by international trade and transactions. So that's what he said. Now, just to give you an extra perspective, as this is a Pan-African platform, let's talk about, which are those countries really. There are many countries who are using dollar alongside their own local currency, but like the five tops are, there is Angola, Democratic Republic of Congo, there is Liberia, Sao Tome and Principe, Zambia, and now Zimbabwe also has joined using dollar. And not to forget Somalia as well, and Somaliland as well. So in Somalia, actually, in general, whether it's Puntland, Somaliland, or Somalia itself, they all use dollar. But go and read a research, or I'm going to pin a research that's made on East Africa, and particularly in Somalia, how dollarization of the economy and using dollar as a US dollar as a currency has killed the economy of Somalia. So you got go and really read it. So I mean, we have countries, we have an ongoing thing that we can take a lesson. We have Sudan as well. So why do we follow these footsteps while we know that the end result is not good? And we have people like this, our own enablers in the continent who are advising our governments to dollarize the economy instead of doing the proper research and advising the right thing. But of course, I mean, they're paid for whatever they're saying. So please go ahead and comment below. What do you think of this? And what are the pros and cons of dollar? Because some people seems to point out there are some pros or advantage, but in fact there is a number of disadvantage for dollarization, because dollarization, it carries a heavy risk with it, which is a loss of autonomy for a developing country that adopts dollarization. Now, when a country does not build and develop its own currency, that means it runs the risk of allowing its monetary policy controlled by a foreign country. That's what we will be choosing to do. Okay. Now there are countries also in the world, other outside of Africa, who have dollarized their currency or economy, like Ecuador, El Salvador, Palau, Marshall Islands, Panama, the British Virgin Islands, the Turks and Caicos. You have Bonaire, in the Dutch Antilles. They allow you to dollarize. It's basically there, and Saint Martin as well. Saint Martin is colonized by two countries, France and the Dutch. The Dutch is a place where it used to be colonized by the Dutch, still colonized, technically. They are using dollar, and the place is still, which were colonized by France, is using euro officially. And they were not able to be back, to use their own currency. It's really impossible. Once you dollarize, it's really hard or totally impossible to come back to your own currency. Anyway, fam, please go ahead and comment. What do you think of this? What are the way out for African country, instead of us preaching for a single currency that is a way out for Africa, than talking about dollarization of these currencies? Please, let us know in the comment section. That is it for me for now. I will see you on the next one. Ciao, ciao.